Okay, oops. Okay. 1v1 on Road to Karkhov. Lannister versus BrutusHR. From BrutusHR, we are seeing Quick Infantry Company. And from Lannister, we are seeing Rifleman. And he is going straight for his north capture point, it looks like, rather than the west one. Interesting decision, considering the west one is what cuts you off from your fuel. Rifleman also coming out of the right spawn. So it looks like he's going to take an aggressive approach. Oh, never mind, he changed his mind. He was just taking a bit of a weird route. So yes, important to take advantage of your two different spawn points. If you set your rally point closer to your actual destination, you will spawn much closer. So important to take advantage of that. Brutus goes with double grand start, sending pioneers straight for the strategic point immediately outside his base. Something to note about the top base is that it is trivially easy to capture this capture point and then take your cutoff. Whereas on the south base, your cutoff is not really anywhere near your base's capture point. So I think that's a bit of a strange design in the map. That these two are so close and yet these two are so far. Gives the north base a slight resource advantage at the very beginning, I think. Lannister moving up the left side with his riflemen. Brutus spreading himself quite thin with his grenadiers. Probably probing a little bit, trying to see where his enemy is going to be making its main push and then moving to defend the other side. And he can see that the minimap is flashing right here, so he knows that his opponent is right on this munitions point. MG42 on the field. Lannister getting a quick ambulance. Interesting. Rifleman in superior cover. Slightly long range battle though. Grenadiers moving out of cover, moving down to the south to assist in this long range fight. These riflemen should have closed in. Now they're kind of at a disadvantage, and now that reinforcements have arrived, they're definitely going to be forced to retreat, and this squad is far too slow. He needs to retreat. There he goes. Should be careful with that ambulance. It didn't quite make it to the point in time, so it was not able to support those riflemen. And then this squad makes a bit of a misstep and is immediately forced to retreat from that machine gun as well. Rear echelon troops, however, moving up the right side to harass. And Brutus is already making a push for the left side. His ambulance, unfortunately, looking like it may have been a misstep, as he is not able to take advantage of it in the early fight.
We've added to the fatherland.
And that is forced to back up into the base. He quickly takes the cutoff. And it looks like the riflemen are actually going to move for the enemy fuel rather than trying to resecure his own. Up the right side. Rear echelon troops engaging the pioneers. Looks like they're going to go for the house. Successfully takes it. The riflemen are on their way back up. These grenadiers are heavily wounded, so they are not likely to survive their next engagement with the enemy's riflemen, especially if this machine gun does not move to support. Ambulance moving up to help these riflemen in this fight. Looks like he may be able to reinforce out of it if he places it just right. Machine gun still not moving to support. One Grand Squad forced to retreat. These riflemen, however, are taking heavy damage, and they are nowhere near that ambulance. He's dangerously close to losing that full squad. Full squad goes down. Flanking rifleman squad does not, however, manage to kill the retreating grenadiers. So, well done by Brutus there, taking out that full squad. That squad does make it away, and this one is in green cover, firing on these Grens and also in their retreat path.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Meanwhile, an interesting trade is going on between the rear echelon troops and the pioneers over here, as well as the riflemen harassing this victory point. Brutus still hasn't taken this fuel, even though it's undefended. He could have even taken it with one of these Gren squads, but he wanted to keep them close together for this engagement. This machine gun still not contributing. It's placed somewhat oddly, defending this munitions point. I guess he just wants to keep a lot of munitions coming in. Fourth Grenadier Squad now.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
And the U.S. player has had really no fuel at all this game due to taking this and also getting the quick ambulance. He still doesn't even have enough to get a lieutenant. However, he has cut off his opponent's fuel, so that should help balance things out somewhat. He's walking straight into an MG over here on the left. He's unable to make it past. Rifleman taking heavy damage on the right. Still has not reinforced a single guy out of this ambulance, strangely enough. Just cannot seem to get it placed quite right for these big fights. Grenadiers charging these riflemen, and then they get torn to shreds by that by those light machine guns, and he does drop himself a machine gun, but it looks like he was a little too late. I don't think he's going to be able to get those Grens to retreat. Nope, he's taking heavy damage from this blob. It's in green cover. Oh, but he does manage to suppress them. That's definitely going to help, especially if he gets this rifleman squad back up in there. But then he surrendered, and the game is over. So, looks like he was down to nothing but one rifleman squad, one rear echelon squad, and one machine gun, which was possibly about to die to a rifle grenade. Brutus did a really good job of taking out full rifle squads and cutting off the enemy fuel for sure, plus this machine gun, even though I think it could have been a little more aggressive, did prevent any recapturing of territory, so that was just a complete shutdown of the allied player. Well played by Brutus for sure, and I think that illustrates that you can have a somewhat alright early game if you play conservative with your Grens and keep them relatively close together and don't spread yourself thin. I think Brutus did a good job of keeping his units within supporting range of each other without necessarily blobbing too much. He does kind of blob here at the end to take out an MG at medium range and green cover. But that was sort of towards the end of the game and not during the initial infantry engagements. And he does have an MG, but I think he could have used it a little bit better to support, especially in this fight over here in the middle. Lannister, I think, maybe should not have gotten an ambulance straight off the bat, and maybe could have positioned it. If you do get it, it's extremely important to position it in those early engagements so that you can reinforce while you're fighting, because if you don't get any benefit out of it that early, then there's no reason to build it that early. A lot of people will wait until after they've gotten at least one officer before they get their first ambulance. But of course, since it is in the very first building, that is a choice you can make, but I just think generally the payoff may not be what you'll expect it to be. So that was a quick game, and that's it.